So I know the new box only just came out a couple of days ago, so any opinions I give on any sort of archetype should probably be taken with a grain of salt and don't really mean a whole lot, but I think I just came across what is the best archetype from the entirety of the brand new support we have just been given. Mayakashi. This archetype just has so many tools in its arsenal. This thing has non-target destruction removal, non-target send removal, it has back row removal, it has a 3300 attack immune boss monster, it has disruption activated from the graveyard, so it's immune to being just Book of Moon to remove it. It has recursion, it has follow-up, it has card draw, it can play through disruption, it can play through fucking DD Crow, which should be the absolute nightmare for any graveyard deck, but this one can just actually ignore it. This archetype is just so goddamn insane, and to top it off, it has the second best artwork out of any Yu-Gi-Oh deck in the entirety of Yu-Gi-Oh, only being beaten by Dakki's thighs. Basically, in summary, out of all the new cards that were added, in my opinion, this archetype feels like the one with the most potential to be a top tier, meta-relevant archetype that will do well on the ladder, do well in KC Cups, do well in tournaments, and just overall be a fantastic, strong deck list. And if it turns out in a couple of weeks I'm completely wrong and this deck list sucks ass, feel free to come back to this video and type some really mean comments down below about me being a smooth brain, low IQ chimpanzee or something. But without further ado, let's get into this deck list. So here's today's deck list. Now just a reminder before I get into the deck list, if you guys are enjoying today's video and want to see more content just like this in the future and more deck lists from me in the future, please remember to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel down below. I still have a bunch of videos planned around the latest box, things like your Cosmos, maybe some Machinas, trying out the Condemned Witch, your Magical Muskets, all these kind of archetypes I still haven't tested yet, your Sue ships, so if you're interested in seeing any of that kind of content, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out, and let's get into this deck list. So today's deck list is obviously going to be Mayakashi. Now this archetype has changed drastically since its previous iterations in Duel Links, so if you haven't seen this archetype before or you're used to this archetype, it doesn't matter, it's going to be way different to its previous iterations that you've seen before. So you might notice something first. There is way little synchro monsters in this extra deck compared to what there normally would be for an archetype that's known for synchro climbing, and the reason for that is your brand new skill. This skill basically puts these 3 monsters in your extra deck at the start of the duel. Then once you have one of your link monsters on the field, you can activate the skill to send every single one of your synchro monsters from your extra deck straight into the graveyard, which is really useful because these cards love being summoned from the graveyard, and your skill allows you to special summon them from the graveyard despite them not being properly summoned. You have things like your big boss monster, your level 11, who I'm not going to bother trying to pronounce, who's just going to be immune to card effects when summoned from the graveyard. This card can remove your opponent's back row. This card can stop your monsters being destroyed by battle. This card mills 3 cards from top of your deck and your opponent's deck, and this card can non-target destruction any of your opponent's monsters. Now to activate the skill, like I mentioned, you're going to want to get a copy of your Link monster on the field, and the easiest way to get a Link monster on the field is via your 1-card combo of Hajun. This card, when it's summoned, can grab a Dakki from your deck and put it straight on the field. These 2 cards can then become your Link 2. Now because you summoned out a Mayakashi monster from the extra deck, this card can revive itself. That gives you a 2 and a 1 to then go into a copy of your Link 3 Yuki-Onna, the Icicle Mayakashi. This once again will revive your Dakki, and these 2 cards can once again become the Link 2. This is fantastic because it purposely puts your Link 3 in the graveyard. This thing in the graveyard can be banished during either player's turn to summon back your synchro monsters, which, like I mentioned earlier, have various different forms of removal for whatever situation you're currently in. As for the rest of the deck list, it's basically just a shit ton of tools that really help with this deck list playstyle. For starters, we have your Yuki-Musume, which is a brilliant card that helps you play through most back row in the game, as your main combo will be summoning this card to summon out your Dakki. If Dakki's then hit by a Book of Moon, or when you go into the Link summon, your opponent hits this thing with a DD Crow or something, you can just special summon your Yuki-Musume from your hand, because this card can be summoned as long as you have a face-up Mayakashi monster, summon it from your hand, put a replacement Dakki straight in your graveyard from your deck, and then just go into your standard combo as per normal. Link these 2 cards off, summon back the freshly placed Dakki in the graveyard, back to the field, and just go for your standard combo. And if your opponent doesn't disrupt you or anything like that, this thing can still be summoned to the field to put a copy of your 9-tailed fox in the graveyard, which is a brilliant card in this deck list, purely because after your turn 1, you're probably going to have like nothing left in your extra deck. meaning this card becomes incredibly important, and just using up these materials on your field that are just doing absolutely nothing, you can distribute these cards off, summon out a 9-tailed fox, which gives you a 2200 beater, which has a nice bit of recursion that you can keep summoning every single turn, and yeah, just a brilliant card in this deck list. The final cards in this deck list, we have your 1-for-1, this card is fantastic, sends one monster from your hand to the graveyard to special summon out your Hajun from the deck list, not using up your normal summon, again another card that's really good at playing through back row. We have your Mayakashi Return, your main searcher for the deck list that can search for any Mayakashi card, or send any Mayakashi card from deck to the graveyard, including your Mayakashi Winter. This thing in the graveyard can be banished to summon back one of your synchro monsters. It also has a nice little bonus effect where it can make all of your opponent's monsters lose a shit ton of attack based on the Mayakashis in your graveyard. And finally we have your Mayakashi Mayhem. I absolutely love this card. This thing is a continuous trap card. If a zombie synchro monster is special summoned except from the extra deck, even during the damage step, you can apply one of the following effects. You cannot apply the same effect for the rest of this turn. Draw one card. Set one Mayakashi spell and trap card directly from your deck. Send the monster with the lowest attack your opponent controls to the graveyard. Inflict 400 damage to your opponent. You can only activate the effect of Mayakashi Mayhem once per chain, meaning all 4 of these effects you can use during your opponent's turn, just one time each. So you can draw cards, you can send your opponent stuff, you can burn your opponent, you can set extra copies of your Mayakashi Returns to your field. Just a brilliant trap card that if your opponent tries to deal with your Mayakashi monsters, or even if you just activate copies of your Yuki in the graveyard to bring back your stuff, or activate this thing to bring back your stuff, whatever you're doing, this thing's going to be triggering multiple times a turn for multiple different effects, including of course the send to graveyard, which is a non-target send removal, which is very important against deck lists that have really annoying monsters that can't be targeted or can't be destroyed. This thing can out them. Alright guys, that's enough for me talking about this deck list. Let's get into some gameplay showcasing what this shit can do. Alright, so today I've got 7 or so replays to share with you guys, all of which are going to be showcasing why exactly I think this deck list is a new top tier meta contending deck list. This R-type feels insane. I nearly got key in games with this archetype. I lost the COG Rank Up game after going on like an 8-game win streak or something, but that doesn't really matter too much to me as I prefer to lose the COG Rank Up game this early in the month, considering it's only, what, the 2nd? So I actually have like nothing to do for the rest of the month if I got COG already, so probably a good thing I lost that one. But yeah, this deck list felt absolutely insane. My win rate was insane with it. Ignore this 10 win streak, by the way. That was a continuation from the yesterday's video. Alright. So starting off, we summon out our Mayakashi, summoning my level 2 from the deck. This goes into our Link monster. Mayakashi revives, goes into our Link 3. Brings back the level 2, goes again into our Link 2, putting the Link 3 in the graveyard for further use. And reviving this card. Alright, activating the skill to toss all of our synchros straight in the extra deck. Activating Return to grab my trap card. And passing the turn. Activating the trap card immediately. And now we just wait for our opponent to get 2 monsters on the field. Can activate Harvester, I'm just going to negate that, don't want to get any searches for no reason. And the second he tries to go for 2 monsters on the field, I'm going to activate my Yuki in graveyard to summon back my non-target destruction, triggering my trap card to summon back a monster, to remove both monsters in the field, and he has nothing left. Alright, these 2 cards going into the Link 3. This then revives, allows me to go into the Link 2 once again, which now gives me a second revive from the graveyard. Summoning my immune monster so my opponent can't even do anything about it, triggering my trap card once again to draw an extra card, and by that point my opponent had already conceded. I could also have grabbed a Mayakashi spell and trap card directly from my deck as well, which I could have used that turn because it's just a normal spell. Absolutely brilliant trap card. If you're not playing Mayhem, I highly encourage you to try it out. I saw a lot of people weren't really trying it out or playing it. You really should be testing it out. The card feels insane in this deck. You can't use it every single duel, obviously, because a lot of the time you have to use your spell card to search for different things, and it's not that great going second. But going first, if you've already used your, well, you don't need to use your search effect for anything else, grabbing that trap card is just incredible. Alright, this is the first of my many rank up games. I think I made it all the way to, like I said, all the way to nearly king of games in this deck list. Only losing the COG rank up. Alright. So opponent's going to summon this card, tribute it off, bring out his dude. This is not quite how this deck list combo is meant to work, but anyway. Maybe this guy just didn't own the Ultra Rare or something? I don't know. Not quite how you meant to play this deck, but each to his own. Sets up a fairly formidable end board all the same. Alright, to summon my monster, searching for my card. He Book-a-Moons me, completely fine, because now I can use Return to search for my Yuki to play through that back row. Summon this card, sending my backup Dakki to the graveyard. He bounces my card, I'm going to activate my Forbidden Lance to negate it. So now these two cards can become my Link monster. And now we can go for the same combo you just saw. I mean, this time it's actually going to go a bit longer, because we want to do this loop twice, to try to get your Link 3 in the graveyard for the following turn as well, in case your opponent survives. Well, I think my opponent might have conceded before we actually reach that point, but we'll see. I've kind of forgotten. Alright, banishing, summoning a monster, removing his monster, and yeah, he already conceded. Alright. Moving on to game number 3. Alright, I forgot what this guy was playing. Something with Sealed Tombs, I reckon, which is a very... That's actually a scary skill to come across. Sealed Tombs is nasty. Alright, no guys, he was playing Constellar Union, sorry. Well, I think I played a Cosmo player earlier that was playing Sealed Tombs. Still beat that guy, but yeah. Alright, so this guy's going for a bit better of a turn 1 setup. At least this guy knows how the deck list works to an extent. Alright, I think he actually goes for the double Xyz summon. Alright. He did miss out an extra draw here. Could he use this Constella's effect to bounce this card for his next Xyz summon, which then would have drawn a second card if he reactivated this, but I think he missed it. But at least it's better in the field than the last guy he came across. Alright, draw a second Chalice, which is brilliant for this hand. It's the only reason we're able to play the game. Summon my Mayakashi, search for my Dakki. This becomes Yuki. Revive once again, he has DD Crow, which for most decks, especially graveyard decks, is a real big pain in the ass. But in this case, we have a Yuki in hand, so we can send a backup Dakki to the graveyard and keep comboing. Alright, Yuki, reviving. He's going to try to bounce this, we're going to negate it. He tries to stop the negate, we activate a second one. This card is probably going to be needed for this deck list because things like Abyss Dweller exist, things like Duel Winter exists. You're going to need a way to deal with those cards, and Chalice is just a good way to deal with it. Book-a-Moon, it's not... This card is much better than Book-a-Moon for most of those scenarios. Obviously, Winter can be flipped face up thanks to a trap card. The Abyss Dweller, you want to use this in response to your Abyss Dweller to actually negate it. If you try to use Book-a-Moon on Abyss Dweller, he'll just chain to it, so obviously this feels a lot better in this particular deck list. Yes, Crackdown. He decided to crack down the level 2 rather than the big Link monster. This confused the shit out of me. I don't know if he was like, I don't know if I'm missing something here, but he tried to crack down this monster, which is fine. I'm just going to swing these two monsters into each other, summoning out my big monster from the graveyard because a Link monster was destroyed. This thing can now swing in, beat over his monster. It's completely immune to card effects, so even if this thing wasn't negated, it wouldn't have mattered anyway. And yeah, he just concedes. Yeah, I don't know about that crackdown on a level 2 monster rather than the Link monster. Maybe I'm missing something here, but that was a bit silly. I probably should have lost that game, but hey, it looks really good for the replay. Alright, up against Paradox, who I don't think was playing... I think he was just playing another Constellar deck or something. A lot of variety from these character skills, since they're all just generic. Alright, 1-for-1 discarding. I could have kept the Effect Veiler in my hand and just searched for it with this, but I think I value the trap card higher than I value the 1-for-1. Or higher than I value the Effect Veiler. Also, this way I can use the Mayakashi Return to potentially search for something if my opponent has a way to stop my, like with a DD Crow or something. Alright, or an Effect Veiler or whatever else. Alright, once again making my Yuki, getting my Revive. Before activating my spell card to search my trap card. By the way, when you're doing this combo, you want to keep this zone empty in particular, because you want to summon your Synchro monster to this zone, because as long as there's a Synchro monster on the field this card is pointing to, your opponent cannot swing into this card, which is very useful, because this thing has a nice bonus effect of when your opponent swings into your Synchro monsters and destroys them, you can reduce the attack of your opponent's monsters, and of course, your Synchros going to the graveyard will revive other Synchros, so you can just make sure this thing can never be hit, and you can keep reducing your opponent's stuff. Alright. Opponent's going to be playing Constellar once again. I'm going to wait for him to try to get 2 monsters on the field. Going to negate this one though. In the second he gets 2 monsters on the field, we're going to be activating our trap card. Summoning out my card, removing 1 monster, removing a second monster, and I think he just concedes from there. I know he tries to keep playing. Good on him. Alright, return, sending my Winter, activating Winter to summon back a monster, and now he concedes, because that would have triggered my trap card, and obviously summon my monster. Yeah, that guy was in a bit of a spot of bother there. Alright, final 3 replays. I wanted to record a few more replays for this, but it doesn't really make sense when these replays are like 7 hours long. This video is going to be a long one, I reckon. Alright. So go on second this time. Opponent doesn't have a whole lot, but this turned out to be a lot more of a lot more exciting of a duel than it started off with. But had a little bit more interaction than it looks like. So opponent's going to IDP me, which is the biggest counter to this deck list, getting rid of all of my shit. Very nasty. But thankfully, we actually still get to summon the Yuki-Musume from the deck list, and we still have our normal summon because we used 1-for-1 for this card's, to summon it. So a rare instance where we can actually play through IDP quite easily. Alright, sending our 9-tailed fox. These 2 cards become Yuki. Revive the Dakki. Making your second Yuki. Reviving the Mayakashi. They become your Link 3. Surviving it again. We're going to the same combo once again. This is because, like I said before, you want to try to get extra disruption for your opponent's turn, especially considering I'm going to use one of the Link 3s now. 9-tailed fox, tributing the remaining fodder. Sending all my shit. Activating my first of my Link 3s to summon back a monster. Completely unaffected. Winter swinging in. He summons out a monster, its attack's being reduced by a shit ton thanks to Winter. He pops my card, don't care, hit him in the face. Pass the turn. Keep in mind we still have the second Link 3 in the graveyard for disruption right now. And of course we have Effect Veiler as well. Effect Veiler is a lot better in this format than it was in the previous one. Mostly because of all the Constellars running around. Effect Veiler is so good versus Constellar. Alright, so if they don't open the extender, it just ends their turn. Alright. And even if they do open the extender, it's a good way to make sure they don't end on multiple Xyz monsters. Especially when that deck can make a Abyss Dweller. Very sketch. Alright. Up against a life point boost alpha player. He was playing fucking Ancient Warrior. Not quite you expect from life point boost alpha, but don't know why you wouldn't play the Tenki skill. But I think this guy was playing something a bit different. He was playing Orcust. He was just using this as a package. Yeah, this card's kind of crazy. Goddamn Orcust abusers. Alright. It's a shame I can't make a Machina Orcust video. I was 100% gonna make one, but it doesn't really work as well anymore without at least you can't play the big one in it. Because the limit 3s they added to it. Might still try to make it work, but we'll see. I doubt it. Thankfully this guy actually milled his field spell, which makes this deck list feel a hell of a lot worse. Orcust without their field spell is basically just a build a wall style deck. So activating my Mayakashi Return, searching for my monster. Normal summon it. Special summoning. He has a banish, which is completely fine. We have our way to play through it. Alright, Yuki, revive. Sending all my shit to the graveyard. Thank God they did this, by the way, so you didn't have to go through the full link climbing. There just isn't enough time in Duel Links for all that shit. Alright. Reviving once again. This card, by the way, I haven't actually mentioned this thing yet. This thing, when it's summoned, can actually target a monster on the field and negate it. So I've just targeted this thing and just flat out negated it. I'm pretty sure that's a permanent negate too. I don't think it's even until the end of the turn. I think it's just the entire one effect monster you're putting controls negates effects. It's not even until end of turn effect. It's a permanent negate on this thing. Alright. Summoning back the Dakki, these two cards become your Yuki. Hobbin is monster because it no longer has the protection. Swing in, hit him in the face. Don't have enough for lethal, but we've set up an extra Link 3 ready for the following turn anyway. Alright, he pops my card. I could have stopped this thing from being able to use its effect or just destroyed it pre-hand, but there was no real reason to destroy this thing because what's it going to do? Destroy Mayakashis that like being destroyed? Like, I don't really care. Yeah, destruction removal is pretty worthless versus this deck. All it does is help you out. He has a kaiju for me? Like that's a way to get around the being immune, I guess. Alright, summons the Link, goes for another copy of his Genjutsu. We have a Fate Veiler, or we have our Negate in field. Just use a Fate Veiler. Activates the field spell, swings into my monster, which just triggers my way to blow up his field spell, so I don't know why you'd want to do that. And yeah, this is now I've got an empty slot in my field, so I can summon back my Yoko, and he is gone. Oh my god. Yeah, that was a banger of a duel, that one. That really showed off what this deck can do. Alright, final replay. Up against my boy over here who was not playing Infernity. Don't get too excited. I think he was also playing Constellar, if I remember correctly. God, I'm so glad these archive skills actually exist. It makes this deck feel these you get to see way more character variety. You see a lot of random shit now. You hear a lot of the themes of random characters. Alright, so my Yuka, get him a revive. I think I've said that like 19 times in this video. Feel free to turn that into a drinking game. Alright. Summoning him again, getting my revive again. Special summoning, setting my Nine-Tailed Fox, dumping the extra deck. Summoning back the Fox. And passing the turn. Alright, up against the Constellars. Have got an Effect Veiler, which is pretty good. This guy... I don't know what's with these people activating this thing first. He even sent the Sombre to the graveyard, or Sombre to the graveyard. I don't know, maybe he didn't open this card. What did he reveal? Didn't he reveal this thing? Maybe he didn't have one in hand or something, I don't know. I really hope he didn't have another starter in hand. He just tried to start with this thing. Alright, tries to pass the turn. Before he does so, I pop one in the back row. Alright, return, sending a card to the graveyard, reviving. This removes his monster, of course. These two cards become a copy of Yuki. Reviving. Compost's going to be used, don't really care, sure. Going to go once again to the Link 2. The reason we're doing this is obviously because you want the Link 3 in the graveyard. Alright. Summon him back. 2 more monsters on field. I can go into a copy of my Link monster once again. So now I can summon out my Nine-Tailed Fox. Swing in. Didn't actually get the Link monster in the graveyard, so that's fine though. He puts it in the extra deck, whatever. He's still dead on field. I think was that the 3rd copy of my Link monster? Do I still have one in the graveyard? I don't even know at this point. I lost count. Either way, that's going to do it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, remember to leave a like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Still have a bunch of videos planned around the latest box. If you want to see those, remember to subscribe so you don't miss out. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you in the next one. Laters.
Hey, big brother, can I watch SpongeBob? Shut up, Mokuba. I'm busy flagging YouTube videos to compensate for the fact that I have an extremely small penis. Oh.